Please remain seated while the class of 2025 enters the auditorium. My name is Jeffrey Putman, and I am the Vice President for Academic and Student Affairs. It is my pleasure to welcome you to our 26th annual White Coat Ceremony. Our ceremony today is proudly sponsored by the College of Medicine, and we want to especially thank the Alumni Association of the College of Medicine for their generous donation in support of this important event by purchasing the first white coats for the class of 2025. We would also like to thank the Arnold P. Gold Foundation for providing the Humanism in Medicine pin for each of the members of the class. The White Coat Ceremony is a relatively recent innovation. Dr. Arnold Gold, a neurologist on the faculty of Columbia University's College of Physicians and Surgeons, started the White Coat Ceremony tradition in 1994. Dr. Gold thought it appropriate that an oath which represents the humanism of medicine should be taken on the first day of medical school as well as the last. The White Coat Ceremony serves to welcome students to the healthcare practice and elevate the value of humanism as the core of healthcare. It provides a powerful emphasis on compassion in combination with scientific excellence. Dr. Gold was concerned that physicians were becoming more enamored with the technological aspects of medicine rather than listening to and caring for patients. The most important element of the ceremony is the oath that students take in front of family members, school leadership, and their peers to acknowledge their central obligation of caring for a patient. In 1995, the Gold Foundation expanded their sponsorship of the White Coat Ceremony to 7 other medical schools, including SUNY Downstate's College of Medicine, and we have held this ceremony every year since. The Gold Foundation reports that the White Coat Ceremony takes place at over 99% of schools of medicine in the United States and Canada, as well as osteopathic schools of medicine, and at schools in over 19 other countries. We are also proud at Downstate that we helped begin a new tradition by expanding the White Coat Ceremony to our College of Nursing, as well as our physician assistant and physical therapy programs. We are grateful and honored to have been one of the earliest institutions to partner with the Gold Foundation on White Coat ceremonies. As an example of our dedication to the mission of keeping healthcare human, our next speaker, our own president, Dr. Wayne J. Riley, is a trustee of the Gold Foundation. To bring greetings to the class of 2025 and our guests, I would like to introduce our next speaker, the 17th president of the State University of New York, Downstate Health Sciences University, Dr. Wayne J. Riley.
Thank you, Dr. Putman. Good afternoon, class of 2025. This is the first time I've been in a room with you guys since you've arrived on campus, I guess about a month ago. So I know you had a video welcome for me, but boy, this is special for me to look at your eyes and see you this morning. So again, welcome to Downstate. Class of 2025. The profession of medicine, healthcare in general, is filled with symbols. You will get to see more of the symbols as you work through the curriculum and walk through the wards of the hospitals and the clinics. But one of the first symbols that we're given as future physicians is what you're holding right now, and that's the white coat. Class of 2025, the white coat represents power and responsibility. Power and responsibility. That symbol, when you walk into a room and a patient sees you, instantly gives you credibility. But class of 2025, you have to earn that credibility by your knowledge, by your compassion, by your professionalism. And so that's why we wanted to do this. We didn't do it last year, unfortunately, because of COVID. But the dean and I said, look, we need to reactivate the white coat ceremonies because it understands the power and the symbolism of this great profession that you and I and many others have been so privileged, so privileged to have the opportunity to enter. So I welcome you this morning. I welcome your parents, your spouses, your partners, your other family members who've joined you for this very special day in your journey to becoming a physician.
It is now my pleasure to introduce Dr. F. Charles Brunicardi, the Senior Vice President and Dean of the College of Medicine.
Thank you, Dean Putman. Good afternoon and welcome, members of the class of 2025, your families, significant others, or friends, and the Downstate administration, as well as our faculty and staff to our 26th White Coat Ceremony. You are all entering College of Medicine at a time of enormous stress, obviously during the pandemic, the greatest disaster of our lifetime. And the future of healthcare in our nation is a subject of much debate. Most importantly, you can look forward to an era of extraordinary and exciting medical discoveries and technological advances. There have been more scientific and technological advances in the past 50 years than in the entire history of the world. These advances will greatly enhance your ability to alleviate human suffering, but at the same time, you can expect to encounter a host of new medical and ethical dilemmas like the pandemic that we find ourselves in. Now, you can be assured that our faculty will do their best to prepare you to meet those challenges. It's our greatest strength at Downstate, is that we train great physicians. We have a long tradition of training physicians who are skilled not only in the diseases of the body, but also the humanity of the patient. And it's for this reason we celebrate the start of your medical education and career by giving each of you a white coat, one of the symbols of a physician's compassionate care. And it's a profound truism that the best patient care is caring for your patient. The white coat is also a way for us to welcome you as junior members of our profession. And this year we're honored that our white coat speaker is Dr. Hassan Teta. Dr. Teta is a U.S. Navy captain as well as an associate professor of surgery at the Uniformed Services University of the Health Sciences, as well as an adjunct professor at Howard University College of Medicine. He was selected a 2019 Emerging Leader in Health and Medicine Scholar by the National Academy of Medicine. Currently, Dr. Teta is a thoracic surgeon for MedStar Health, as well as the Walter Reed National Military Medical Center. He leads a specialized thoracic adapted recovery team in Washington, D.C., and his research in thoracic transplantation aims to expand heart and lung recovery and save lives. Now, I'm delighted to say that Dr. Teta is a native of Brooklyn, New York, and he's SUNY trained. He received his Bachelor of Science from SUNY Plattsburgh and his MD degree from SUNY Downstate, as well as training in general surgery at Downstate. He pursued and received multiple advanced degrees from other prestigious institutes such as the Harvard's Kennedy School of Government, Johns Hopkins University Carey Business School, as well as the National War College. In addition to all of these amazing accomplishments, Dr. Teta is the founder and principal of Teta Consulting Group, creator of the Art of Human Care book. There's a series of books. He's the author of several best-selling books, including Gifts of the Heart, Star Patrol, and The Art of Human Care. We're delighted to say that Dr. Teta will generously provide each of you with 2 of the books during today's ceremony. And we congratulate you, Dr. Teta, on your outstanding achievements, your brilliant career, and we're excited that the words that you will say today will inspire the audience and especially the members of the class of 2025. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Hassan Teta as our white coat speaker.
Before the gospel according to John, and after the gospel according to Mark, is the gospel of Luke. And the 48th verse of the 12th chapter of that gospel says this: "To whom much is given, much is asked and expected." To whom much is given, much is asked and expected. Many of you know that. You've heard that term before. But you know, if you continue to read on in that verse and chapter, it says, the more that you have all been given, the more you will be expected to repay. President Riley, Dean Brunicardi, Dr. Putman, Dr. Hill, distinguished faculty, family and friends, and especially the class of 2025, get ready to repay. Unfortunately, life does not accept Visa, MasterCard, or American Express, or Discover. Fortunately, you all have been given much, and you stand now at this moment in time with an incredible opportunity to repay, because you've all been given much. I haven't looked at your bank accounts. I don't know what you have in your pockets, but I know this. The very fact that you are here in this room right now, in the midst of a global pandemic, about to embark on probably one of the most important steps of your career, means that you have been given much. I don't need to know anything else, but the presence of you here right now speaks to that. Now, you have an opportunity to change the world for the best. And what I'd like to do is share with you how you can do that. Beginning with a story. A few years ago, I was giving a presentation of research at the World Society of Cardiothoracic Surgeons in an island called Kos, Greece. On the last day of my presentation, I went to go check out one of the big attractions of the island, which is the famed Temple of Asclepius. On this island of Kos, there are many monuments there, and the ruins of this great temple is a very special place. I went to the temple, and I climbed on top of the stairs of the ruin, and I stood there on the platform of this ruined structure. And I went back in time, 2,300 years, and recounted a story that happened at the very same place where I was standing in the year 399 BC. You see, there was a businessman in Kos. His name was Nikias. He was 39 years old, and he had a pain in his chest. He was very worried because that pain in his chest was the same pain he remembered his dad had when he was 40, just before he dropped dead. And the same pain that his father's father had at 40 as well. So at 39 years old, very upset and nervous about this pain he was experiencing, this pain he had in his chest, he summoned his son and he said, "Take me to the healing temple of Asclepius." That's where I was standing. They traveled by the best transportation of the day, oxen cart. They arrived at the stairs, and then he ascended, clutching his heart all the way up because he was short of breath and still experiencing the pain. He got to the top of the stairs right where I was standing. Now the building is gone, but right where I was standing. He rapped on the door, and before the door opened, he spied right at the end a man dressed in all white, looking very distinguished. Before he could say anything to the man, the doors opened up, and it was the healing priest. They said, Zacchaeus, what brings you here? I have a great pain in my chest. I need to get care. He said, well, you've come to the best place to get care. But before you enter, you must pay. Well, Zacchaeus had a pain. He had to get treated, so he paid. It was a hefty sum, almost as tall as steep as the stairs that he just climbed. And as he entered the great healing temple with the fine marble, as a good businessman, he marveled and said, this healing must be a good business. Over the next couple of days, they took away Zacchaeus' clothes. They gave him a robe. They said, you are not to have anything to eat or drink. Your body must remain pure for the visitation of the gods so that we can determine what's wrong with you. Sacrifices were made. There were dogs and snakes in the temple. And Zacchaeus asked, what are the dogs and the snakes here for? They said, they chase away the demons and snake bites can cure. Zacchaeus did not seem convinced. After a night of incredible disturbances and an inability to sleep or rest because of all of the noise and commotion within the place, the healing priest came to Zacchaeus on the next day and said, have your dreams revealed what's wrong with you? We've made all the sacrifices. What is the problem? Zacchaeus had no answers, then neither did they. Well, we said, they've given me the best medical care in 399 BC. Zacchaeus did not feel any better. He was frustrated. He left the temple, and he descended the stairs, and as he got to the bottom of the stairs, he collapsed. Laying on his back, he looked up, and he saw the man that he saw on the first day of his encounter, dressed in all white. The man was looking down at Zacchaeus and said, Zacchaeus, I'm a doctor. I'm here to help you. Zacchaeus started to protest. He said, wait a minute, if you're a doctor, how come you're not in the healing temple there? The doctor said, they don't practice my kind of healing in there. The doctor was caring. He inspired trust. He took Zacchaeus to his healing temple, or his healing place, rather. It was clean. There were no dogs or snakes. And then he started to ask Zacchaeus questions about what he ate, about what kind of work he did, about his family, about his family's family. All questions that no one asked him in the healing temple. And then he did a thorough examination on Zacchaeus. He looked deep into his eyes. He looked into his throat. He listened to his chest. And he concluded, Zacchaeus, your body is out of balance. You have blockages here and here. Zacchaeus was very concerned. He said, what can I do? He said, listen, first, you must change your diet. No milk and no meat. Nothing to thicken your blood. You must eat plenty of oranges and lemons. And you must rest. Rest? Who has time to rest? Zacchaeus said. The doctor said, Zacchaeus, if you do not do these things, you will die. And then the doctor made a cut in the wrist, and he let some blood out into the cauldron and said, balance has been restored. Go out and do these things that I told you. Zacchaeus leaves the temple feeling better, leaves the doctor's healing place feeling better than he has in years. He goes home and he rests. He has his son doing most of the work. Now, this is a small island. Now, all of this happened right where I was standing. This was before Twitter and Instagram. So it's a small island. There were rumors spreading. And Zacchaeus started to hear things that troubled him. He said, apparently someone burnt down this healing temple of Asclepius. And that's why it was ruined where I was standing. A name of the person responsible was circulating. Zacchaeus recalled the name he would never forget. It was the doctor that took care of him. His name was Hippocrates. Class of 2025, what in the world does that story have to do with you guys? What starts here today can change the world. What starts here today can change the world, and you will all be responsible for it. How do I know this? Over your lifetime as a physician in America, you will see over 80 to 100,000 patient encounters. Think about that. Each of you will see 80 to 100,000 patients, no matter what your discipline. Think about the impact. You can change the world with the smallest gesture. How do I know this? I've seen it in my career. In fact, I want to share with you some words that were just sent to me by the sister of a man that I just shared some information about COVID with. And she wrote this letter. I'm just going to give you excerpts of it. Thank you so much, Dr. Tedder. I do hope everyone is as fortunate as I am to partner with you on this journey. As a fellow Brooklynite who grew up learning how to adjust and adapt on the sometimes rough and tumble Brooklyn streets, your experiences, Dr. Tedder, have resonated with me, and for that I am truly grateful. Your journey, which started in our hometown, Brooklyn, launched you across the nation and across the world with your true gift of healing, both physically and spiritually. I am so sorry for your losses. I explained to the person that I had lost some family members from COVID. And know that you will never forget your loved ones who paved the way in big and small ways. My father, Tom Trezor Sr., would have loved your message and your vision. He blessed us all with his optimism and faith that if we dug deep enough and had faith, we can emerge out of some really tough times. I hope someday to meet you, but please know what your gift to my brother Tom and then to me has meant to me. With deep appreciation, God bless you and your family. Marianne Trezor Cucciaria. What you don't know is that Marianne was suffering from long COVID. And when I shared this information to her brother, he immediately saw a way to help his sister out. And that was just an excerpt of what she wrote back. So go back to those 80,000 to 100,000 people that are your patients. She wasn't even my patient. Think about the impact that you have to change the world. Now you must be asking yourself, well, how do we do that? I'm going to give you some advice. Actually, it's not more advice as it is instructions. These instructions were learned on the streets of Brooklyn, my travels all over the world, my great professors and teachers and colleagues that have taught me along the way. But most importantly, this wisdom comes from my patients. My patients have taught me what I'm going to share with you. It's encapsulated in a mnemonic called learn. And what I would suggest to you is that if you listen to your patients, if you empathize with them, if you affinitize and connect your plan of care to what is ailing them, if you repeat your message and you know what their now is, you'll get there. You have two goals as students entering this great and noble profession. One is to heal and to teach the next generation how to heal. To heal and to teach the next generation how to heal. Why is that important? Because health is the most important thing in life. Ask anyone who has lost health and you will know. When I was a fellow in Minnesota, the cold winter finally got the best of me. And back then in fellowship, you were either in the hospital working, or you were in the hospital as a patient. There's no in between. Well, on this day, I was in the hospital working, but I should have been in the hospital as a patient. But I couldn't do that. So I walked to the infirmary, and when I got to the infirmary, there was this wall that I passed by almost every day, but never paid any attention to it. But I paid a special attention to it today because on that wall was inscribed something that just touched me. It pierced my soul because I was feeling very miserable. I had no health at that time. And what the word said, appropriately right outside of the infirmary, is this: when health is absent, wisdom cannot reveal itself, art cannot manifest, strength cannot fight. Your wealth becomes useless. Intelligence cannot be applied. Do you know who wrote those words? Because right at the end it said Herophilus of Chalcedon, who happened to be physician to Alexander the Great and a pupil of Hippocrates. That stuck with me because it meant to me that health is the most important thing. So as future healers, you are restoring, maintaining, and enhancing what is the very essence of our human existence. So you have to listen to your patients. When I was here at Downstate, I remember right here in this auditorium, one of the doctors at the time, Dr. Friedman, said, "Students, if you listen to your patients, they will tell you the diagnosis. If you listen to your patients, they will tell you the diagnosis. You want to change the world? Listen to your patients. They will tell you the diagnosis, and you will know what you need to do to help them." When I was an undergrad, I suffered from bacterial meningitis and almost died. At that moment, I had a doctor that took care of me that was so caring. I remember it vividly. What that experience did for me was give me empathy. I know what it feels like to be in a hospital with a tube in every orifice of your body, because that happened to me. If you want to change the world, have empathy. Put yourselves in the shoes of the patients that you're caring for. When you're talking to a patient, be careful not to use the jargon that we love to use. No ventilator-associated pneumonia, hemoglobin A1C. That stuff has no meaning to anyone except for us. If you have to tell Miss Johnson that her diabetes is out of control and that she's going to have a problem, and you start talking about hemoglobin A1C and all this other stuff, you're going to lose her. Think about how to affinitize your plan of care to what she cares about. And if you were listening and you were empathetic, it'll be easy to do. Because if you were listening, you would hear her say, "My grandkids bring me joy. I love my grandkids." If you empathize with her, you would realize she has trouble getting her medication because she doesn't have a lot of money or transportation. She can't fill her prescriptions. So you could affinitize your care and say, "Listen, Miss Johnson, you want to see your daughter, you want to see your grandkids graduate from school? Take your insulin so you can actually walk in and see her." Now she's going to have a connection for what you're telling her is going to get her to her goal. If you want to change the world, you have to repeat your message, because it may not happen on that first time with Miss Johnson. She's thinking about how she's going to pay the bills when she gets home. And this doctor visit was nice, and you told her some cool things, but she's not going to remember that when she gets home. So you got to repeat it. And if possible, repeat it in front of her family members and maybe her grandkids, so that they can help be a team in getting her better. If you want to change the world, repeat your message. You have to know what your patient's now is. Know what their now is. What do I mean by that? Patients come to you all the time with a problem, typically, and a chief complaint that someone may have written down on a paper. Please listen to the patient and empathize with them before you just go by that chief complaint. Take some time to understand what the patient's now is. Why are they here now? They have hypertension, they have high blood pressure, they have glaucoma, they have all of these chronic conditions, but why are they sitting in front of you now? Take the time to figure that out so you can address that thing that's most important to them. So you want to change the world, know what the patient's now is. I promise you, if you learn about your patients, you listen to them, You empathize with them. You affinitize your care and your plan of care to what's important to them. You repeat your message and you know what your now is. You will change the world. When I was an intern at Litch, which doesn't exist anymore apparently, I was a new intern on the floor taking care of a very sick patient that had gastric cancer. He was a Russian-speaking man, and he was going to die. And I think he knew he was going to die. He spoke no English, I spoke no Russian. But every day I would see how he interacted with his family, and his whole day would light up when his grandkids came in. And they would spend hours in the room just visiting with him. And he was in pain, and he was suffering. I had to do these terrible dressing changes with an open abdomen, and he winced every time I touched him. It was just torture. But when his family was there, all of that went away. Well, after hours, after visiting hours, he was there by himself in the room, and the nurses called me in, and I was an intern by myself taking care of this patient. They said, he's not doing well. And I went in, and he didn't look like he was doing well. I didn't know a lot, but he didn't look like he was doing well. And I was anxious, and I was scared, and I said, what do I do? And I went and asked one of the nurses what to do. That was brilliant. Actually, it was very smart. So I found one of the senior nurses, and I said, what do I do? What do I do? I don't know what to do. And she said, Dr. Tedder, call his family. It's brilliant advice. I called his family, and I said, listen, it's after hours, but I think you need to come in. I don't think he's got long to go. And the nurses and I worked to keep him stable, and we started infusing fluid, and he was alive when they got there, and they visited with him, and they were there when he passed. I felt horrible. I was like, my patient died. It was my first patient that died. And the family thanked me. And I said, how could they thank me? And their dad just died. And they said, because you gave us an opportunity to spend the last moments with him. If you want to change the world, know that your patients are going to die. You're going to die. Death is not an option. But it's how you spend your time while you're alive and the things that you do in your world while you're here in service to others that will make a difference in the world. In the 1940s, there was a Jewish psychiatrist that was imprisoned in the Auschwitz concentration camp. He was number 119104. He was a psychiatrist imprisoned. He expected to die. But you know what? He had hope. And more importantly, he gave other prisoners hope. He quoted Nietzsche in his lectures to all of the prisoners, and he said, "Das, was uns nicht merken, was stärker tötet." That which does not kill us makes us stronger. That which does not kill us makes us stronger. This man that was facing certain death provided hope to all of these people that had none. Dr. Viktor Frankl gave us that hope. He survived the concentration camps and went on to write probably one of the best books in the world called Man's Search for Meaning. It's an example of what you must do to change the world. You must provide hope when there seems like there is none, especially when there seems like there is none. And finally, class of 2025, if you want to change the world, you have to have gratitude. Be grateful for all the people that helped you get to where you are. Write to your teachers and your mentors. Tell them about what you're doing. Tell them that you just had a white coat ceremony today. Tell them that you're starting your first rotation. Tell them that you did your first case. You are, each one of you, someone's greatest unfolding story. You are entering the most noblest profession in the world. You are going to impact the lives of teachers, moms, dads, fathers, the rich and the poor. You have to listen to your patients. You have to empathize with them. You have to affinitize with them. You have to repeat your message and know their now. Because when you do that, your work is going to help them. It's going to help them incredibly. Through your work, their wisdom will reveal itself. Their art will manifest. Their strength will be strong to fight life's challenges. Their wealth will become useful, and they'll have the intelligence to apply it to solve the greatest challenges in our world. This work will not be easy. Let me make no mistake. The task before you is going to be really hard. But you look to your left and you look to your right, and you're going to have your support system there through your colleagues. Your faculty and all of those that are entrusted with your education are here to support you. And of course, you have your family to support you. But when you do that work, that great work, you will change the world. Congratulations.
And now, I am delighted to present to you the class of 2025. Will the following faculty members please come forward and take your places? Sophie Cristoforo, Associate Dean for Student and Curricular Affairs, will read the names of the members of the class of 2025. Dr. Jason Lazar, Vice Dean for Education, Dr. Ricardo Bianchi, Associate Dean for Foundations of Medicine, and Dr. Robin Ovich, Associate Dean of Clinical Competencies, will assist with directing students to the stage to obtain their white coats. Dr. Camille Clare, Chair of the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology, Dr. Elka Jacobson-Dickman, Associate Dean for Clinical Medicine, and Dr. Brian McNeil, Associate Dean of Clinical Affairs, will assist us by coding the members of the class of 2025.
Mackenzie Andrews. Katrine Abulasad. Ibrahim Ahmad. Peter Arden. Jesse Aseadu. Joydeep Beda. Carlos Barreto. Ariel Ben Ezra. Safa Banani. Brian Burko. Ethan Kai. David Alexander Cano. Cassandra Carrion. Joseph Anthony Salento. Ilana Cohen. Alexia Collins. Evan Davis. Jose Delis. David Diaz. Brittany Gardner. Maggie Harmon. Rex Herzberg. Gabriel Hizami. Alvin John. Sarah Miksha Jadu. Matthew Kahn. April Kessler. Tamid Kandakar. Adithi Krishnamurthy. Migi Lee. Sandra Leskinen. Jesus Lopez. Gabriel Luce. Davin McFarlane. Ari Monas. Natalia Monsalve. Si-Young Jun No. Aaliyah Padilla. Radna Panda. Victoria Perone. Andrew Prasad. Sophie Queller. Zamir Rahman. Asher Rip. If you wish, yes. Eli Roan. Sally Sabin. Jacob Sabu. Mohammed Saeed. Grace Shadid. Yeah. Siddharth Sharma. Oh no, you're Natish. Natish Sinaran. You're the tough one. Tagagni Shifora. Alfred Shim. Naomi Shohet. Karambir Singh. Jolene Singh. Jonathan Snow. Samantha Torres Spiritoli. Bertarelli. Sorry about that. Fatima Udin. Anthony Valeka. Shalala Viba. Gabriel Vizcon. Salvatore Giovanni Volpi. Aaron Walt. Moshe Weber. Samuel Zabzanov. Mesa Trabilsi.
Ladies and gentlemen, the class of 2025, another round of applause for them. Now we're going to do a first. For the first time in the history of SUNY Downstate Health Sciences University, we are honored to present the Oath for Teachers and Learners at SUNY Downstate Health Sciences University, which is located on the back of your program. It is my great pleasure to once again introduce the 17th President of SUNY Downstate Health Sciences University, Dr. Wayne J. Riley.
Thank you again, class of 2025. Dr. Putman and the Dean know that I've been pretty dogmatic about a couple things related to this process. And it's one, you've all heard about the Hippocratic Oath, right? We've had a raging debate behind the scenes, right, Dean, about whether we should have you recite it. I'm kind of old school, class of 2025. I've only done the Hippocratic Oath one time, and that was at my medical school graduation. And I kind of think it's appropriate for that. But with that being said, I told the team, look, let's find another oath that tightly connects the class of 2025 to those of us who are entrusted with teaching you. And so the work of Dr. Putman, to look at some other medical schools, we've come up with this oath that both we as your educators and you as our students will recite together. So as Dr. Putman said, this is our first time doing it, so you are the beta test in a sense. But if you listen to the words as you recite them, I think it really will strike a chord with you of how impactful this oath is as it prepares you in 4 short years to take the other oath that we all cherish as physicians. So class of 2025, today we ask our new students to join with our faculty in reciting an oath meant to be an explicit commitment to the ideals that we promise to uphold as part of that social contract to each other and as members of this cherished community here at Downstate. While professionalism requires more than a vow to good intentions, these vows define our responsibilities and obligations as future members of the medical profession and as SUNY Downstate medical students. Would the members of our faculty present today please stand? Will the members of the class of 2025 please stand? I ask that you read the oath printed on the back of your program following the prompts on the page. So when it says students, the students will read along with me. And when it says faculty, I will ask my colleagues to read along with me as well. We pledge to serve our patients, their families, our community, and each other with respect, integrity, competence, compassion, humility, and humanity. We hold as our ideal the care and treatment of all our patients. From them we will learn. We hold as our ideal the advancement of knowledge. Through it, disease will be understood, prevented, and cured. We hold as our ideal open-minded collaboration. To this we are collectively committed. We hold as our ideal critical self-evaluation. Through this we will grow. We, your faculty, promise to serve as worthy role models, as our own teachers have before us. We, your students, recognize the expertise and commitment of those for whom we learn. We promise to support your personal and professional growth in the clinic, in the laboratory, in the community, and in your own teaching. We promise to pursue responsibly in our calling to patient care, to service, and to research. We promise to maintain an environment where scientific integrity and ethical standards sustain your trust in us. We commit ourselves to the highest standards of academic honesty, scientific integrity, and ethical practice as both students and in our professional lives. We honor and embrace the SUNY Downstate Health Sciences University College of Medicine history of commitment to service to the people of the borough of Brooklyn, the city of New York, our nation, and the global community. We support its rich tradition of teaching and research excellence. We accept challenges and opportunities of those alumni whom we follow. We humbly commit to serve humanity, caring for the sick, promoting good health, and alleviating pain and suffering. We will not permit considerations of race, religion, political affiliation, sexual orientation, gender identity, disability, nationality, or social standing to influence our duty of care. We solemnly pledge our commitment to this oath and our assistance to others who pledge the same. Congratulations, class of 2025.
This concludes our 26th annual White Coat Ceremony. Will the members of the audience please remain in their seats while the class of 2025 exits? Thank you.